What's up? It's your boy G White, you heard me? Say, look, you spell my name G/White. So when you spell my name, make sure you spell it right, you heard me? A lot of people been on these YouTube streets. They've been talking at me like, say, bro, why you sound like you black? I'm like, what you mean why I sound like I'm black, you heard me? I'm like, say, bro, we gonna correct that right here today, you heard me? But say, bruh, before I correct that, I'm gonna let y'all know one thing. If you see me in public, in the public square, you heard me, and I got my grill on, my top, 24 karat, my bottom, 24 karat. If you add that up, bruh, 24 and 24, bruh, that's what that is. 22. Hold up, you gotta drop. Do I gotta carry? No, because 24, 40. Say, bruh, wait, 24 and 24. That's 48 carats, bro. So I got 48 carats, bro. I got, look, y'all trying to say I'm trying to be black by the way I talk, you heard me? I'm like, say, bro, what you mean I'm trying to sound like I'm black, bro? Just because I got grills in my mouth? Say, bro, look, everybody who got that cheddar, everybody who got that cheese, they got these here grills, bro. You can't even afford to get 24 and 24, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't need no diamond crust. Yeah, I'm from New Orleans. See, bro, look at my wrist. My knuckle, bro. NOLA, bro. That stands for New Orleans, Louisiana. You dig? Don't mind G White. I just brought him on to make a point because when you come in my comments section and you leave comments like this or this or this, wait, press pause. Take a moment to look at those comments. Okay, so as you can see, I often get accused of trying to sound black. That's literally the argument that I get in the comment section often. A comment sprinkled in here, a comment sprinkled in there, where someone says or makes the comment that I am trying to sound black, that I am literally intentionally trying to use vernacular that makes me sound black. That is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. And I want to address the topic, and I've covered it before on my channel and on other videos because it's an interesting topic, number one. And number two, I think it's good every so often to readdress this topic because I am interested in how people come to the perception to accuse people who, specifically Southern white people who are from deep South Louisiana, of sounding black. Specifically, if you're from the New Orleans area and you grew up in a area that had a lot of black folks, or you went to school with a lot of black folks. I went in elementary school, in junior high, and even a little bit of high school I was around mostly black folks. And even some of the schools that I went to, like on the North Shore in Mandeville, I went to a junior high for a short period of time because my parents were trying to get me away from the West Bank, me and my brother, from getting in trouble. And we moved to St. Tammany Parish in Mandeville for a small amount of time, and we got in trouble over there too. But here's the thing, even the white folks who were more well-to-do in St. Tammany Parish, in Mandeville specifically, whose parents were probably making $100,000 plus a year, who, were more prestigious and more well-to-do financially, even those kids, some of them wound up in prison too, because I was in prison with them, and some of them wound up, sticking that stuff in their veins and losing their life too. So that's the thing about Louisiana. Louisiana is not the smallest state, but it's by far not the largest state. It probably falls somewhere right in the middle or right below the middle of size when it comes to how big the state is. And a lot of people in the New Orleans area tend to be right on top of each other. So if you had a black neighborhood, the black neighborhood was right next door to the white neighborhood, and you went to the same gas station. And often, if your parents couldn't afford to put you in Catholic school, you went to the same public school with your black friends. And most of the public schools in New Orleans, Jefferson Parish, were predominantly blacks. That's who, was the most amount of kids was in the school, was black kids. And you had some white kids, some Vietnamese kids sprinkled out in there, and a little bit of Spanish. but it was mostly black kids. Then, like I said, some white kids, because a lot of the white families sent their white kids to Catholic schools. Now, even some of them still tend, not all of them, less than what the public schools had, sound with most people who are floating around from everywhere else would say that they sound like they're trying to be black. I'm not trying to sound like I am trying to be black. I just sound the way that I do because this is the way that I talk. And I'm actually, as opposed to trying to sound like I'm trying to be black, I'm actually doing my best in my subconscious mind to speak as good as I can, to pronounce the words as best that I can. In Louisiana, we don't say they, we say they. We don't say that, we say that. Who that? You heard me? We say you heard me a lot. And even people who speak better than myself, they still can tend to toss out a little bit, you heard me? You hear me? That's just the type of language we use in the New Orleans area. And you're going to catch a lot of whites in the New Orleans area, specifically on the West Bank, meaning Marrero, Harvey, Avondale area, which is all the West Bank. Whites tend, it's not uncommon, to have gold teeth in their mouth permanently. They wasn't putting grills in their mouth. I'm thinking that's a Texas thing. They were not putting grills in their mouth, removable, retractable grills like a sunroof. They were putting permanent, cemented gold teeth in their mouth, and they were stuck in their mouth forever. I even almost got goals. I was 19, 18, 19. I almost went. Everybody went to Claiborne. You went to Claiborne and you get your goals. You can get your goals on a Thursday night at midnight. That's right. You can go get gold teeth permanently put in your mouth on Claiborne Avenue at midnight, 2 in the morning. It was like going to get a tattoo. You just got that urge. I'm going to get slugged up. That's how they said it, slugged up. So it's not uncommon to see white people where I'm from with permanent gold teeth in their mouth. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Well, it wasn't a decision because I wound up in prison. And if I wouldn't have wound up in prison, there's a good chance I would have got slugged up. A lot of my friends got slugged up. I know a lot of white people and Vietnamese people, obviously not black, who got slugs. Like I said, we didn't call them grills. We call them slugged up, booted up, like you got a mouth full of 32. That's what they said. And just because you got gold teeth doesn't mean you're trying to be black. It just means that you grew up in a black culture in all likelihood if you're from the New Orleans area. And actually, if we're being real, my vernacular is probably somewhere in the middle of the road, tilting a little bit toward the better speaking as opposed to the so-called black speaking. Because let's be real, when y'all get on there and say I'm trying to talk black, what y'all mean is I sound like I'm ignorant because y'all think that all black folks are ignorant and stupid. So that's what y'all mean. Y'all trying to offend me. And I'm not worried about it because I know I'm not ignorant. I'm not stupid. Just because you talk like you think you're supposed to talk, meaning you talk in a more northern white accent, don't mean you smart. You could still be stupid in a bag of rocks. So don't get on these YouTube streets saying stupid stuff like this. This is the most recent one I got. As y'all know, I recently jumped over to TikTok to start putting short form content and start doing some chop ups from my long form content and put some short videos out on it. So I've been tossing them on TikTok. And here's a comment I got on a video where I said I got in a fight with a dude in a holding tank. Now I'm gonna leave a link to that video below. I'm gonna try to because my computer's broken. If I can do it from my phone, I'm gonna leave a link below about the video where I got in a fight with a guy in a holding tank. He phone checked me. Well, anyway, in the video, I said the dude snuck me, boom, 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 boom. We got in a fight. And the dude said, yeah, and from that moment on, you've been speaking black. That's just so stupid, man. I don't think people think, and they're judgmental, and I'm trying to educate. There's a reason that people in Louisiana sound the way that we sound. It's because we were in a gumbo pot. You ever seen gumbo cooked? You put a bunch of ingredients in it, different ingredients. You know, you got your holy trinity, which is your bell pepper, your onion, and your celery, and you put that in there. You got all your different spices, and everybody uses different spices, and you put that into the gumbo pot. You got your roux. Some people make their roux from, fresh ingredients. Some people get the bottle roux that's pre-made. But either way, if you know what you're doing to make gumbo, the main thing is that it's a bunch of mixed stuff. You might have smoked sausage. You might have andouille sausage. You might have chicken. You might have shrimp. Some people even put oysters in there. You might put, you could put all different types of stuff, so it just depends. Some people put pork in there. There's different ways to make gumbo. You put your ham hocks in there. Shoot, I might even see 1 or 2 instances where people put turkey necks up in their gumbo. And some people put okra and some people don't put okra. But either way, a gumbo pot is a mixture of ingredients. And when it's done, it marinates and it gives you a flavor that tastes really good because it all blended together. Well, that's what happens down here in southern Louisiana. That's why you got your Creoles, your mulattoes, you know what I mean? Mulattoes, you know what I mean? You got all these different types of people. You got people from France. You got people from the islands. You got Spanish culture that all blends to make New Orleans what New Orleans is. And that's why you got all the different dialects and vernaculars. And the reason that white people, out of all the white people probably in the world, the white people who get accused of trying to be black the most comes from the New Orleans area, comes from Louisiana. Our whole world, everybody knows this. And so we get accused of these things, and it's not the case. When you grew up around a lot of black folks, like white folks do in Louisiana, then you look at black folks different. You hung out with them. They were your friends. When you had sleepovers, that's who you hung out and played Nintendo with all night. That's what I did when I was growing up. I had probably more black friends than white friends when I was growing up at a certain period in my life, because that's mostly who lived on my street. I had white friends too, and we all hung together. And sometimes we fought against each other. I remember we might have, some houses had Confederate flags on them, some had American flags. And back then they were rocking Malcolm X flags. People were wearing those, best back when they had those medallions. New York made them popular. Those African medallions. Some dudes had them. And some dudes had Confederate flag t-shirts. Leonard Skinner. They all hung together in the same neighborhood. Sometimes they'd fist fight with each other. So white people who grew up in New Orleans, they were used to fighting black folks. And black folks from New Orleans know white folk will get down with them too. It's just a different area, man. That's what I'm saying. And so I just want to bring attention to the fact that in Louisiana, you have the highest concentration of black folks outside of probably Africa in the Western society is Louisiana. Per 100,000 people, you can look it up, from the last 5 decades or probably longer, the most concentrated amount of black folks were right here in Louisiana, in the South. Of course, you got Mississippi and Alabama in there too. But it was Louisiana, because Louisiana is a hub. That's what you had, the Mississippi River, the Louisiana Purchase. It was the river, the mouth of the river, New Orleans, the main hub for trade. And so, yeah, they did. They had a lot of slaves back then. And so a lot of plantations, all that, everything, to talk about. But what I'm saying is I'm getting at the point that the reason I think that the vernacular and dialect of some white people sounding black, and what I mean probably by black is Southern black vernacular, is because we all grew up together. And some black people probably get accused of trying to sound like Southern white people. I don't know if they get that or not. I just know there's no shortage of white people who get accused of it, because I talk to a lot of my white friends and other white people I run into who do content creation, and they say they get the exact same thing. I remember a couple times scrolling through people's pages who do Southern content, and they're from Louisiana. And I even seen where even some white females have been accused of trying to sound black, and they put on the same thing like, no, I'm really not trying to do that. But people still accuse them of it because of some of the Southern drawl that they have, and maybe some of the wording and vernacular they use, like you heard me or you dig. I'm just saying. So I hope I brought a little more clarity to it. And if you think I talk black, fine. You can think whatever you want. I'm not trying to be black. I don't want to be black. I'm happy with who I am. I am a French, Japanese man. And I'm completely happy. And guess what? The Japanese probably wouldn't accept me neither. I'm sure they wouldn't, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm Japanese. My grandmother took a boat here from Japan. And listen, we're going to get into some Japanese stuff. We got that Yakuza coming, some good content. Give me a like and subscribe to the Pen and the Shank, the most unusual and unique crime and prison channel experience on YouTube. And share in the comments. Do you think I sound black, or do you think I just sound Southern? Or do you think I sound New Orleanian? Hey, everybody got perceptions. I got perceptions on how people sound from Southern California. I got perceptions on how people sound from New York, or how people sound from Kentucky. You can recognize different languages. On Boston, where they really got an accent, but they don't get accused of sounding black. We do in New Orleans, man. Let's get this.